Hello, my name is Juliana Gabriel. I'm an Anth 10 theory in history, and my topic is first farmers. Australian Aborigines have been using agriculture even before the Europeans came to Australia. Australian Aborigines were hunter-gatherers, but then they decided to grow crops. But they did not have domestic animals at the time, they just grew crops. There is evidence that the Australian Aborigines planted yam, and yam was domesticated, and it was very easy to start off with domesticated plants. The Europeans thought the Aborigines knew nothing at the time, so when they came to Australia, they were very shocked to see them have agriculture and to see them use fire and to see them build dams and kill kangaroos and um, know what lands were fertile and when to harvest the seeds. Horticulture experimentation is seen in the Australian Aboriginal civilization because they grew and harvested many plants. What they farmed were domesticated yams, like I said. They also practiced and harvested seeds like wild cereal grasses, particularly native millets. They would also dig up marnal roots and fish and trap eels to eat. Dams were also seen in Australian Aboriginal land. The Australian Aborigines would build the dams since the dams were well done. Um, when the dams, they would catch eels, and eels were very important to them because they used oil to keep warm and even to keep insects away from them. The fire technique that they would use was the fire stick farming, which is when they would burn an area that they wanted to clear up, which is very useful because there was a lot of grass in Australia and they were very dry, so burning it was very fast and easy. They had it controlled so it never got out of control. Since most of the time the forest was fertile, what they would do is they would go to the forest and also burn the location so they were able to grow more plants there. The Aborigines would take care of the kangaroos as well as many other animals because they cared about them. They knew that the kangaroos prefer short grasses, native bees prefer desert bloodwood, and koalas to eucalyptus, and rock wallabies thick throws. So they took care of these animals. Um, the kangaroo was found everywhere, so that is also another creature that they loved to hunt. The way they would hunt them is by using fire to scare them into the spears, and when they were scared, they would run towards them, and then that was an easy kill because they would set them with the spears that they made. There is evidence that the Aborigines would store their fruit that they grew because they were growing so many plants at the time, so they were able to put some away for later use, which shows that their growing was going very well at the time. Since they were able to store food away, they didn't have to worry about harvesting all the time and going and hunting and gathering. So they focused on politics and arts and just other ways to advance their culture, and they were like able to come together and tell stories. Their villages were usually very close to their land because it was more convenient rather than having their land maybe a mile away and their village another mile because it was just closer to them. They usually made their houses from the debris around them, like um, branches. They maintain their land, and it's very important to maintain it because if they didn't maintain it, then their crops would be dying most of the time. So they would build dams and wells, irrigation systems to water the plants, as well as harvesting seeds. Bad irrigation would be terrible because then their plants wouldn't be getting planted. Um, they kangaroo grass was very important to Aborigines because it is found everywhere. The grass is found everywhere, and it said it's reported to accelerate baking process, but there isn't much research behind it. We just know that Aborigines loved it and used it all the time. The Aborigines also wore clothing at a time of agriculture, and usually clothing and agriculture go hand in hand. They would usually make their clothing from the kangaroos that they killed. It protected them from the cold and cooler southern areas, which comes in handy. The Aborigines started off by using domesticated plants like the yam. It was just easy to grow them since it's a yam, so they would just put them in the grass and dirt and they would just grow, and then after that they decided to grow other plants. The Aborigines were also highly nomadic, which meant they moved depending on the climate and the resources that are around. Their homes were simple, so they usually destroy them, or they were able to go make new homes since they weren't too hard to make. Um, yeah. Um, why did the Aborigines begin? It was transition to agriculture. There is no clear answer to this question because usually agriculture brings labor, risk, and adverse impacts on human nutrition and health, and just time. The Aborigines farmed as an activity rather than a lifestyle at first, so they usually didn't really care about it, but they did, and after they realized they were getting so much food from it, they then made it a lifestyle. Um, it seems like they started experimenting in the mid-Holocene or the Thermoplastic early Holocene. They were coming in contact with other people around them, getting ideas. Um, and then they were getting external cultural contact and getting influence, and that's when they started growing yams and more bananas. With agriculture, the Aborigines were able to sell some of the seeds and that they harvested, and since they were getting so much of it, they were getting 20 kilograms of seed at the time, which is very impressive. They would usually get the kangaroo grass at the time. Also, Australia is full of grasses. There's my bibliography.